Hello, welcome to the Life of Gaming podcast, episode 28. I'm Josh the Beard Brant, and we thank you so much for taking time to listen in on this cruise of video game awesomeness, whether it be on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you listen. As you can see, I'm in the captain's seat this week because James is out this week with a throat infection, so hopefully he gets better because, we're just going to derail like crazy with me heading it, but that's all good. Thanks for listening to us again, maybe on your daily commute, or if you're on one of our geeks and sneaks pumping some iron or out running, we are extremely thankful for you to turn in. And as always, I'm joined by my friend / co-host, sometimes nemesis, Matt. What's up, man?
Woo! Second chair. How's it going, man?
Filling in nicely.
Yeah.
The guy that knows Halo inside and out.
Yep.
Yeah. How are you today, sir?
I am doing great. I'm enjoying a nice Friday evening. Football. It's a football time of year, so I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
I think I'm going against you in fantasy football this week.
Ooh,
if
we
I'm
are?
not mistaken.
I have a pretty awesome team, so you better watch out.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the highest score last week of, I think, 155 points, which that's like
wow.
unheard of. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. Well, I had Gronkowski, Julio Jones, Carlos Hyde. I mean, guys scoring touchdowns like crazy, so that always helps.
Ooh, I got Tom Brady, so I just better hope that he does not pass to Gronkowski.
Yeah, please don't. That will help me in the end, as you know. But yeah. This week, I'm happy to announce that we also have another guest on our show for the fourth time, Mr. Rob Val from The Workprint. How are you today, sir?
What's going on, guys? Four Pete. I love it.
Amazing. You just keep getting on here somehow. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know why. Honestly, don't know why I keep coming back here. But I heard that Jamie wasn't going to be on, so I was like, oh, good. I'll be in.
Yep. We need somebody in here.
And if I'm filling the third seat, I guess my role now is to argue with you on everything, right?
Yes.
That's right.
That's what you do.
Well, actually, you won't be arguing now because it's James that you're always arguing with, but hey.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
No, you'll be arguing with me. I'm second now.
True. This is all confusing. This is a disaster already. I love it.
I know. You got to. But yeah, guys, I guess we'll be going into what have you been gaming, and Rob, we'll start with you.
So I've actually don't have a laundry list of games like I normally do. I listened to your guys' last episode, which is the backlog episode, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it actually inspired me to go through my backlog and see what I hadn't finished. So I've started going through some of those. Lately, I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I got burned out on it a little bit when I first started playing it because I was reviewing it for the site, and I put in like something crazy like 60 hours in the first week that I had the code, not even. So after that, I kind of stepped away from it, and I went back today, and I forgot just how much I love that game. Like, the combat they've made some changes, and the combat's more fluid. It's better now. And the world itself is so dense and so, like, inviting that I'm falling in love with it all over again. It reminds me why that game is probably going to be my game of the year.
Yeah.
Besides,
nice.
Go ahead.
So it's definitely your game of the year.
I mean, as of right now, we still have the huge fall lineup coming out, and I'm super hyped for Halo 5. So, besides that, I tried out. Yeah. Besides that, I tried out a little bit of Gun World, which just released on Xbox One. It's only like $2 or $3. It's
nice.
A 2D side scroller, kind of like Mega Man. It's Mega Man-esque in that you choose the order in which you tackle the worlds and the bosses. It's also very hard and very difficult, and there's some slowdown, like some extreme slowdown in parts. So I don't know. I only played for like a half hour. I tentatively like it so far, but I don't know if that slowdown and those issues are gonna plague throughout. Then again, like I said, it was only like $2 or $3. So besides that, besides that, I've been playing a little bit of Until Dawn on the PS4, which is
I really want to play that.
It's amazing, man. Like if you're a fan of the Quantic Dream games, Heavy Rain, and what was the other one? Something Beyond Two Souls. There it is. Yeah, it's just like that, except I think it's better. I think the story is fantastic. For those of you who don't know, it's a choose your own adventure teen horror game, and so it follows a lot of the tropes of like, you know, the old school horrors like Friday the 13th and Halloween
Project.
Yeah, and what it does is, because it's a teen horror, and I just treat it like a horror movie. So some of your decisions affect whether or not people live or die in the game. And so normally I play those games and I try to keep everybody alive. But in this one, it doesn't bother me at all that people are dying. Because I'm like, oh, she was the dumb blonde. She had to go. You know, this is a horror movie.
All the horror tropes, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but my black guy's still alive. So I'm kicking one of them.
Black guy alive.
Yeah. Besides that, I'm also been playing Super Mario Maker.
Cool.
Which is fantastic. My son has basically been obsessed with it. Comes home after school, does his homework, of course, because I'm a good parent. And then he creates levels, and then he asks me to come up and play them and make sure they can be beat and stuff like that. And I can't remember the last game I played that infuriated me so much, but then was so satisfying. I always go up there and play his levels, and I'm like on the cusp of yelling at him for creating these monstrosities. And then by the time I beat them, I'm like, okay, that was pretty good. Well done. And I'm super impressed considering he's only, 7 years old, and he's creating these pretty well thought out levels. So
now I've heard that there's a lot of actually really terrible levels being made, and that's weighing the game down, which I haven't got a chance to play it yet. So I don't know. Is that true?
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if you're playing terrible levels, it's because you're sampling everything, and you're finding these terrible levels. I mean, the levels that are in the game itself that were done by Nintendo are fantastic. I mean, they're classic game design. And then there are some pretty clever levels out there in the community. You just got to find them. Curation seems to, I think the more this game goes on, the better it'll be curated. So I don't think that'll be an issue later on. And then the last
said something like Nintendo's going to get rid of your level if it's boring.
Yeah, see that I think is a good move, especially since they cap how many levels you can actually upload. You can only upload like 10 levels, and then if you get stars on your levels, they allow you to upload more. So it incentivizes you to put out good levels so that you can upload more levels. So I think it's pretty smart on their part. Last thing I'll talk about is I've been playing Disney Infinity, both 2.0 and 3.0. I've had 2.0 for a while, and since 3.0 was coming out, I realized I never finished some of the playsets in 2.0. So I went back, beat those, and I purchased 3.0. You guys know me; I'm a sucker when it comes to collectibles and
gimmicks. Yep.
Yeah, these toys to life, Skylanders, Amiibos, Disney Infinity, and now Lego Dimensions. For the most part, they've all been really well done, and I think Disney Infinity probably does it the best. The game itself is fun. It has that toy box mode where you can create your own levels, try out community levels, and the figures I think are the best looking figures of any of those Toys to Life ones. And so now it's restarted my addiction to these figures, and I think I had all the 2.0 Marvel figures, and I think since 3.0 has been released, I've bought, 12 more figures, something like that. So
which Star Wars figures does it come with for the starter pack? So
if you already have the base from a previous one, so for the Xbox One, the only previous one was 2.0. So if you have the base from 2.0, then you can just buy the digital version and then buy the playset separately if you want. And so I did buy the Star Wars playset, and that comes with Anakin and Ahsoka from Clone Wars, the series that's on Cartoon Network.
She's pretty cool.
And I also purchased Yoda. I bought Ezra today, and then I bought the Inside Out playset, and I also bought some what they call Disney Originals, ones that aren't tied to playsets that you can just play in the toy box and stuff like that.
Do they have Boba Fett?
Boba Fett is right now only if you purchase the starter pack for the PlayStation 4. It's a timed exclusive, so I'm gonna wait. I'll have to wait out on that. And then I also purchased one of the characters from Tron. Like I said, I've been going back and buying some of the older figures. So I purchased Baymax. I purchased
Baymax. Gotta have Baymax.
Yeah, I purchased Mike from Monsters Inc. I purchased Mrs. Incredible. Like I am getting out of hand. Yeah, I'm getting out of hand with these. But like I said,
they're not Amiibos.
Yeah, I have also purchased Amiibos recently because my son still uses them.
And there's the new wave.
I just picked up Bowser Jr. today, actually. So.
Oh, okay.
Cool, man. Well, Matt, what have you been playing?
Mine's a shorter list. Being in school now,
It's always shorter when it comes to Rob.
I know. I was going to say that. Most people's lists are shorter.
Well, no, being really busy with school and everything, getting through the first few weeks and getting settled in and everything. But Castle Crashers Remastered, that's come out, and I've been playing that like crazy.
I've been playing that already, as well.
Oh yeah, great game. I think I already got a character to level in the 30s or 40s, and I've only played it like a few nights, maybe like 2-3 nights, something like that.
That's insane, man. It takes a while to get up to that level.
Well, except if you're the red one, because then you just build up your magic, and then you just sit and electrocute people the whole time, and you build up like insanely fast. He's got overly powerful magic for some reason. But the other one I've been playing is Gears of War, and then I tried that new iPhone game, Star Wars Uprising, because I'm curious to see how the universe is after Return of the Jedi, and it was a big deal because like this is the first game that's come out that shows the universe after Return of the Jedi, and it's really just like you're on this one planet, and some governor or something like that who used to be in the Empire have status is just kind of cracking down on that planet, in the wake of the Death Star being destroyed, and there's really not any sort of connections to the overall universe. So I was kind of disappointed in that. And it's okay. It's just like you have to put too much time into it, and I don't feel like putting that much time in an iPhone game.
Yeah, and then it's funny because they've actually built that as canon, as like kind of a gap, so you can learn more after the world. So it's a shame to hear that it's kind of ancillary, and that it's not affecting the world that much, the universe.
Like, yeah, there's pretty distant connections to it. Like every now and then you hear about something going on outside, but it's mostly like, from what I got so far out of it, you're mostly stuck to this one particular area, and you're just kind of roaming around doing missions for people. So, I mean, maybe new characters and stuff, or maybe you'll come across characters eventually, but I don't know.
Yeah, I hear it's one of the better iPhone games, though. Or
yeah,
Android.
I would say for like if you really want to play an adventure game and your only device is an iPhone, then yeah, it's pretty fun. But there's way better options on consoles and PC and stuff. So
cool,
but it's all right. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, well. As you know, I've been playing Zombie Vikings from Zoink Games because I actually reviewed the game for Life of Gaming. Because we're putting out more content, which anybody listening, you need to go over there and check it out. We actually have a new website, lifeofgaming.net, where all our news, articles, reviews are going to be. I have my Zombie Vikings video review up there, so go check that out. And Matt, with all your Let's Plays for Donkey Kong, which are awesome.
Yeah,
that's where you want to go.
I've been kind of slow on getting some others up, but I'm working on Castle Crashers and a few other games, so I'll get those up.
Cool. And speaking of Zombie Vikings, we actually have a contest. We have a few codes that we want to give out. If you watch our review on YouTube, comment what is your favorite side-scrolling beat-em-up, and then we will announce the winners next Friday, September 25th on the show. So be sure to go over there and check that out.
If you comment that I'm your favorite person on the podcast, you might just be more likely to win. Just saying.
Throw some more votes that way. I see how it is. Good, but yeah, other than that, like I said, I've been doing some retro gaming with my son. Super Mario Brothers 3 for the NES.
Nice.
It's been going, it's man, that game is so hard. I forgot how hard that game is. I'm just on World 4. And I had like 20 lives getting up to there, and now I'm down to like 5. But we made it through. And Eli is playing as Luigi, and he's like had to use a bunch of continues. And
Brant, how old's your son?
He's 7. So,
okay.
I mean, he's playing more than I would have ever played at his age.
Right. Yeah, my son, I try to get my son to play some of that stuff, some of the Mario games, because it's classic platforming, and I feel like it's a good foundation for video games going forward. Sure. And yeah, he has trouble with it, because some of those jumps and some of the timing, and it can get super frustrating, especially when, like you said, when you're 7 years old. Yeah,
but with Super Mario Maker, I can imagine that's great for him because you can make levels that are actually really simple, so he won't get frustrated.
Yeah. That's basically what he's been doing lately. Because like I said, I was starting to get a little angry with him, and I was like, TJ, you need to be able to beat some of these levels yourself.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, I'll make them a little bit easier.
Step up, boy. Beat it. But yeah, also with that, I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5, of course. Been Truck. I'm never going to finish that game. I've sort of just come to the realization of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying. It's my game of the year so far. The mission I was on yesterday. Like, I was going along, sneaking around, and then, of course, I got caught. And then for most games, you have to quit out. But for this game, you can just go on. I pulled out my assault rifle and just started mowing down guys and happened to finish the mission anyway, which is really awesome. That just doesn't quit you out when you fail. And I'm really loving that game right now. Rob, have you played it at all, or?
No, so I haven't played it. I'm actually on a little bit of a Metal Gear Solid 5 boycott. All my friends are playing it, and they really want me to play it. But with all these games coming out, and I already said I've got a backlog as it is. The idea of having to sink another 60 plus hours into a game is kind of a turn off right now. My plan is to actually pick it up somewhere around like the middle of December after all the big releases have come out, and I've played at least most of them. And then go and dive headfirst into it.
Yeah, with Fallout 4 on the horizon, there is no chance I finish that game. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the captain's log. Okay, let's first hit on the Xbox side of things. And Matt, I'm going to give you two topics. You decide which one you want to choose. And I think I know, but I'll give it to you anyway. Okay. Halo 5 or JRPGs on the Xbox?
Let's go Halo 5.
Good choice.
It's kind of hard to go away from that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the new news happening with Halo 5 is that it will feature dynamic resolution, and luckily the game will be locked at 60 frames per second. And game's resolution will dip below 1080p when necessary to keep the rate locked. Is this a good thing, do you think, Matt? Or
bad for me, because like I've mentioned a couple times before, like with my eye issues, I don't see everything as clearly as the normal human being. So honestly, resolution and all that stuff has never made a difference to me. Like once it got up to like 720p in the Xbox 360 gen, then everything just looks fine enough for me afterwards. So
yeah.
Actually, this would work better, wouldn't it? Because the resolution's changing, but the frame rate's still the same. So usually frame rate matters more for me. So yeah, that would work better for me. I like that. But I can see where a lot of people, they might get upset because there might be a few spots where it doesn't look as graphically superior. But it's about the game in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly don't think it's a big deal. I think, like you said, it's about the gameplay, and I think 60 frames per second is more important for a game of this type. And truth be told, there's a ton of games I've played that weren't 1080p. I mean, look at launch. We had Rise, Son of Rome on the Xbox One at launch, and that ran, I think, at 900p was where it was locked. And
that's so beautiful.
I still think it's one of the best looking games on the console.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, I'm one of those people who I can't really tell the difference between 720p and 1080p. So as long as it fluctuates between that, and it's not a hard fluctuation, where it doesn't noticeably dip, then it's not a problem. I think it's much easier to see a dip in frame rate and see chugging than it is a change in resolution. So it's not that big of a deal. This is also similar to what Killzone Shadowfall did, where for their multiplayer, they had a dynamic resolution. And so there was this big controversy about that, but that game still looks gorgeous. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I'm with you.
As long as it's not like Borderlands where you pop into a level and there's literal pop-in for the next 3 minutes on all the walls. As long as it's not like
Which
that.
I think it'll be of higher caliber than that. But I agree. 60 frames per second. If you can lock it in at that, I'd much rather have that. Just a smooth gameplay experience. Even though 30 isn't bad, but still, 60. You can tell a difference from like The Last of Us when it was 30 on PS3 and then went to 60 on PS4.
Right, and I also
make things great.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where frame rate matters depending on certain games. 30 and 60, 30 on something like The Witcher 3 or Assassin's Creed doesn't really matter. But when you're playing a first-person shooter, I mean, it's one of the reasons Call of Duty has been so successful is because they lock out of 60 frames since Modern Warfare. So I think that with this game type, with first-person shooters, I think that's the most important thing, and I'm glad they're hitting that.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah.
Just a quick, for the JRPGs for the Xbox, I guess 2 new exclusive ones are coming on the way, which is Stranger of Sword and City and Students of the Round 2, which sound very Japanese. So it's good that they're not totally going away from that type of game.
Right. I mean, I'm not a huge... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it seems like they're trying to diversify a little bit and get a lot of what people around the world like, even just slowly, but they're kind of building up their base of games that are exclusive to try and get that crowd in, I guess. It just seems like it.
Exactly what I was going to say. I'm not the biggest JRPG fan, but I mean, more diversity for gamers, the better. So,
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the PlayStation news. Rob, I'm going to let you choose, so choose right, my friend.
Okay, can we skip it? Can we just skip PlayStation? Is that possible?
You're a funny guy.
No, I love my PS4.
Yeah, with Tokyo Game Show going on, there is a ton of news, but one of them is Bloodborne DLC, and I'm going to say Bloodborne DLC. Is that okay?
Oh, man. I was really hoping we would talk about some of the hardware they announced. But
like what? What hardware is that?
Well, no, why don't we go
solo fridge?
Why don't we go into the Bloodborne DLC, and then afterwards quickly I'll just run down some of the hardware.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, it's new DLC on the way. It's called Old Hunters was announced. And according to Sony, the DLC we've set in a nightmare world where hunters from the past are trapped forever. And from what I can tell, it's going to add new weapons, new stages, new bosses, new enemy types. So I think it's priced at $10, which that's not too bad if you get a whole new campaign onto the old game. Rob, you played Bloodborne, right?
No, I actually have not yet. Okay. I picked up my PS4 just a little bit after Bloodborne was released, and that's one of those games that I plan on going back and playing. It's just one of those things, again, I'm looking for games that I can play and beat quickly. Like, Matt mentioned earlier, Gears of War Ultimate Edition. I've been playing that as well, and that's, a quick 8-hour campaign, 10-hour campaign, whatever it is. But I do want to go into it, and I think this is great news. I think it doesn't have to be a meaty expansion if it's, 5 hours or so for $10. I think that's amazing. I think that's like the perfect price point for these kind of expansions.
Exactly. When you hear about $30, $40 DLC cost for season passes when you don't know what it is. I mean, I just like the idea of having one singular thing you can buy that you know what you're getting.
I agree. I mean, season passes don't bother me when they're done right. Like, and I'm sure you guys mentioned the Fallout 4 season pass on a previous episode. That seems like it's going to be good because Bethesda releases good media expansions when they do their DLC. But you talked about announcing a season pass and then not really saying what's in it. I mean, that Arkham Knight season pass is an atrocity. So
exactly. Yeah. I hear it wasn't even that good. So what's the point? Yeah, Matt, I guess you don't have Bloodborne, so you lose out, man.
No. I still haven't played Dark Souls or anything. I know Jamie keeps getting on me now to get around to Dark Souls 2, I think is the one that I can play. But I got to actually find it somewhere and buy it first. And doing that.
I go out and buy it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Get ready for Dark Souls 3, which that's another announcement coming out in Japan March 24th. But that means I think it was announced for the U.S. actually in early April. So good stuff, man, on the way.
Yeah,
more good games.
And then real quick, talking about TGS, I mentioned the hardware announcements. So at TGS, they actually announced a few hardware announcements. The first one being that, for those of you who don't know, the PlayStation 4 actually has a removable hard drive cover. And right now you can swap that hard drive cover out with game-specific hard drives. So they actually have on their website a Bloodborne one. They also have a Little Big Planet one. And then just like a PlayStation-themed one that has all the PlayStation symbols on it. And they announced that they're releasing, I think it's like 8 more, and they're all solid colors. And at first I thought it was kind of a dumb announcement because solid colors against the rest of the console being black seemed like it would look bad. But I saw some of the pictures, and some of those colors look really sharp, and it gives it a nice contrast, almost like an accent wall in a living room,
That's pretty cool.
Besides that, they also announced 4 new controller colors that they're coming out with. One of them is a crystal, so it's basically like, if you remember, there used to be those old school like clear controllers that showed the inner workings. So it's like that. There's a gold one, I can't remember the third color, but the fourth one is a brushed steel, and it kind of looks like a brushed steel. It looks like one of those luxury watches that like dark metallic gray, but doesn't have the shine to it. It's not a matte finish. It's not metallic, somewhere in between. And that one looks really, really sharp. And I'm one of those people who I like to have 4 controllers for when people are over, and I like each one to be a different color. And then I pick my favorite one. I don't let anybody touch it. Like, so these announcements got me pretty excited. So I love that
have
stuff.
the Lamborghini of controllers.
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm paying $150 to get an Elite controller for the Xbox One.
Oh, wow.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah.
Get those extra inputs in.
Listen, if you guys want to be like me, you just have to marry a doctor, and then you can spend your money on Disney Infinity figures and different color controllers.
Trying to work my way up there. Maybe one day I'll get that doctorate, but I'm not going back to school anytime soon. Yeah, Matt, let's go ahead and go back to Nintendo. And
all right.
There's really only one news headline that was really, really freaking huge for Nintendo, which is the new Nintendo president. But I'll let you choose between the president or Star Fox Zero.
I actually would like to hear more about Star Fox Zero.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that's some crazy stuff that happened. They actually, which was supposed to come out this fall, it's delayed until Q1 2016 now. And Miyamoto's response, I'm just going to read this here. I made a big decision this week. We have been developing Star Fox Zero for the Wii U with the aim of releasing it this year. Although we felt that the development had been progressing well, we now believe that we will need a little more time to work on areas such as the unprecedented discovery that we want players to experience in the game by using 2 screens, and further polishing the level designs and perfecting the tone of the cutscenes. While we have already reached the stage where it would be technically possible to release the title in time for the year-end holiday season, we want to polish the game a bit more so that players will be able to move more smoothly, grasp the new style of play that we are proposing. To the people looking forward to the launch of the game this holiday season, I am very sorry. And what do you guys think about this? Is this the nail in the Wii U coffin, Matt? I mean...
Oh, the nail was put in that coffin forever. Once they announced NX,
the final nail in the coffin, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I mean, the same amount of people who are going to buy it will still buy it next spring, and hopefully the NX is backwards compatible in some way, shape, or form, if it's like digital or whatever it is. So, I mean, maybe people can play it, but I think it's just less people playing their Nintendo games this winter, unless it's more Splatoon DLC.
Yeah, you'll still be playing Mario Maker, so...
Yeah, Mario Maker. That's true.
Yeah, see, I'm actually of the mind that I don't think the NX is coming as quickly as people think it is, especially since we haven't seen anything except all we heard is that they're developing it. So yeah. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think with the way it hurts it is that they don't necessarily have a huge title in the fall in the holiday season. I think what is it, Yarn Yoshi or whatever it is. I think that's coming in the fall.
Yeah,
still.
Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah, Yoshi's Woolly World, and that looks good. I listen. The guys over at Kind of Funny, I think it's Colin Moriarty, he always says no game has been worse for delaying it, you know? So if they felt they needed to delay it to make it better and we get a better experience in the end, then I'm fine with that. I think it's a smart move. I also think it's a smart move to get out now before the big releases start hitting. Well, I mean, we've already had Metal Gear Solid 5, but you know what I mean? Before that rush of big releases starts hitting, to get out and say something about it now. And I mean, I'm excited for the game. I hope it turns out well. And if delaying it is going to make it a better experience, it's going to make it more fun, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, they got Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis. Can't forget those Mario Sports games. But yeah,
I love those Mario Sports games. Don't
They are. They're awesome.
They are. Especially Mario Golf, man. I want to play that again.
We used to have Mario Golf and Mario Tennis tournaments when I was like in elementary, junior high. It was some of the best times ever.
Yeah,
James and I would go all out with that.
even in college, we would set up some Dolphin emulation on a PC and go to my friend's house and play some Mario Golf and have a couple tournaments. So it's great. This stuff's great.
Awesome. I just want to hit on the new Nintendo president because it is a big deal. But the new president, his name Tatsumi Kimishima, and he currently runs the human resource department of Nintendo. I guess he ran Nintendo of America from 2002 to 2006 with the launch of the Wii. And he was a prior Nintendo CFO and president of the Pokemon Company. So I've looked at pictures of this guy, and it really looks like he means business. I mean, I've Googled pictures, and every picture, I would give money to see like a picture of him smiling in a photo.
I think I think that's the problem. I think that Nintendo needs somebody at the head who's the face of the company, who's up for the gamers. I think you look at PlayStation, you look at Microsoft, and you see that that's what they're doing. They're putting, Phil Spencer out there to be the face, and he just has that persona, and he seems like he loves what he's doing, and he loves this industry, and he loves games. I think people, when they heard about this, that the fact that he did run Nintendo of America for a little, and that he was a part of the Pokemon Company, I think that's getting buried in this, and people are looking mostly that he was the head of HR. I wouldn't count him out just yet, and I'm excited to see what he has. Plus, let's be honest, with NX already in development, the wheels are already in motion for what they're doing in the near future. So, I mean, right now he's just going to be acting as a figurehead.
If anything, he'll try to focus more on business strategies that might be extremely profitable or even, popular for Nintendo. And so, because we all know they've lost popularity, regardless of the fact that their games are still awesome and what they do is still awesome, but they've lost popularity in the last 7 years or so. And so,
yeah. And I guess he was the one that actually advised against releasing the Wii U in the state it was. So I think there's some smart intuition there that he can get the company turned around. But let's go to the third party news here. Rob, I'm going to have you choose. Quick mention, Shovel Knight, the DLC has come out this week. So make sure that you guys check that out. Download it because that game is awesome. But Rob, do you want to talk about Minecraft Story Mode or Five Nights at Freddy's?
Okay, real quick. I tried playing Five Nights at Freddy's one time on my phone at night in bed because I had heard a lot about it and I actually had them from a Humble Bundle. And that game scared me. It scared me pretty bad. Worked. And so I played for like 30, I played for like 15 minutes. And then at one point, it was one of those jump scares and I was like, nope, enough of this. So let's go ahead and go with the other news.
There you go. Minecraft Story Mode. Okay. Well, Episode 1, The Order of the Stone, will release October 13th for the PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PC. Luckily, it's coming to the Wii U and Vita at a later date. And that's going to be the only way to play Minecraft on the Wii U, I guess, because they still don't have Minecraft, which is crazy. But the physical copy will come out October 27th. Physical version includes Episode 1, while all future episodes must be downloaded. So you get the Episode 1, but then you have to eventually download all the episodes anyway. But I guess the story, you'll embark on a perilous adventure across the overworld, through the Nether, to the end, and beyond. You and your friends to revere the legendary Order of the Stone, warrior, redstone engineer, griefer, and architect, slayers of the Ender Dragon. Wow, sounds pretty epic.
I am super, super excited for this.
Oh, yeah.
I love everything that Telltale has done. I think they know how to take an IP, an established IP, and put it into their formula and make it feel like it's a part of that universe. I mean, Tales from the Borderland feels like a Borderlands game, even though there's no shooting whatsoever in it.
Yeah.
And I've loved everything that they've done, The Walking Dead. I mean, I think Wolf Among Us is probably my favorite of their series. And not to mention that they have Patton Oswalt voicing the main character who I love. So I'm super excited for this, and knowing that it's coming out, next month is makes me really, really excited.
Even some of their underrated series, the older series that people don't remember as well, like Back to the Future, that one was pretty underrated. It was pretty fun to play through. And
I agree. I really like the Back to the Future game.
Yeah, I guess Jurassic Park was pretty bad, but I never actually played that one, so I can't say whether or not it was. But
I just think they have their current formula down so well.
Yeah.
I honestly just wish that they would update their engine. I understand that these games run across all devices. I mean, you can play these games on your iPhone, right? But that doesn't justify the fact that there's still a lot of chugging when you're playing it, and there's audio glitches, and there's times where the game will just freeze. And so my biggest hope is that, more than anything, is that they update their engine and that this game runs smoothly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just excited because it's not a mature game, and I can. My son loves Minecraft, so it's something I can play with him.
And I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with this story, because, like, you know, in the story, they're It's like they're in the overworld, but there's like an adventure where they'll go to different villages and stuff, and then you go to the Nether. I'm curious to see how they're going to play that off in a story-oriented setting, whereas I'm used to playing Minecraft and just finding resources and finding that stuff on my own. Right.
I mean, normally when you play Minecraft, we make up our own story.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever you're doing is what you believe you're doing.
Yeah, like I'm waiting to see how similar their story is going to be to what I feel like I experienced, and kind of, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I think that's why it seems like they're going with this grandiose kind of extreme story, which I think is a good move. Because the more outrageous the story is, the less offended I'll be by it, to be honest. And so I'm really excited for what they're doing.
Sure. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the My 2 Cents section. Okay? We'll start off with Xbox. Right now, on Amazon, you can get $50 credit with the purchase of a Madden 16 or Gears of War bundle. So if you buy an Xbox One, $50 credit with the purchase of Madden 16 or Gears of War. You can get $58 towards a new controller and a charge kit if you buy an Xbox One over Amazon. Castle Crashers is free until September 20th if you already purchased it on the 360. So make sure if you bought it on 360 to redeem that, because it won't be that way for a while.
But it will be discounted if you already owned it. So even if you missed that deadline because you don't have an Xbox One, although if you don't have an Xbox One, you can queue it up on Xbox.com. But for some reason you missed this deadline, it will be discounted to $5, I believe, for previous owners.
Which, it's still worth buying at that. So
20th is like Sunday, so I mean, by the time people hear this, they're only going to have like one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody listens to it as soon as it posts, just like me, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Exactly. But hey, we might save just a few people. So.
Right.
But Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, it's became free on Gold this week. Do you guys know, is that the only game that was free this week on Gold, or is it?
So the way Microsoft does it is right now there's two games for free. There's the Dear God and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which you mentioned. And so at the start of next month until the 15th, the Dear God would be gone and they'll replace it with another one. And then from the 16th on, they'll replace Tomb Raider with another one.
On top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, yeah. They just rotate it out, but they have a staggered release is how they do it.
Well, that works. Okay, let's move on to PlayStation. At Target, you can get free 3 months of PSN with the purchase of a PS4 system, which I've known deals where I actually got it for a year. So you might want to wait if it comes with a game. I mean, Black Friday's around the corner, so. And right now there's a PSN flash sale, and I want to thank our listener Anthony Cantu for giving us this information.
Thank you, Anthony.
It's the animation sale. And from what I can see, they had like Dragon Ball, Xenoverse. They had a few other good games on there. I mean, I own most of the games I wanted on it, but you can never go wrong with a flash sale. I mean, it's a good chance. Pick up any games for really cheap that you want. And
so Josh, have you ever actually played a Dragon Ball Z game?
No, I'm not really into the show at all. I mean, I know the guys like scream and their hair flares up and they they destroy the world and whatnot. But
I mean, that's pretty big.
That's serious.
That's the exact plot of every episode. So you're right on. You know what you're getting.
Sweet.
Have you ever played them, Rob?
I have played some of the fighting games in the past. There were some on the 360 that were released. And I think even going back to the PS2, I believe I played some of the fighting games they had released on there.
Are they pretty good?
I like them. I mean, I think they're pretty good. They're weird fighting games in the fact that they're 3-dimensional, kind of like Tekken. So it's 3-dimensional planes. It's not a 2D fighter like Street Fighter and stuff like that. And then there's also like aerial fighting because if you know about Dragon Ball Z, these guys can
they
basically fly,
zip all around.
Yeah, and so no, they're pretty well done. I mean, you have to know what you're getting yourself into, and I think you have to be a fan of Dragon Ball Z to really appreciate these games. But from everything I've heard, Xenoverse, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, is a pretty good game. So,
Yep. On to Nintendo, Walmart. If you pre-order Yoshi's Woolly World, you'll receive a green yarn Yoshi amiibo. So,
Aww.
Yep.
Those are the cutest amiibos.
They are adorable.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. That's one amiibo that I would like to own. And you wouldn't have to worry about it breaking either, which is nice. On Nintendo's online store, you can get a refurbished 2DS for $60, which if you have a little kid, that might be worth it. So
they just dropped the price of the 2DS, didn't they? To I believe $100, $99.
Yeah. So now it's dropped even further, $60. I mean, if you're just getting it for a kid to throw around, then there you go.
Yeah, I think that's a good deal.
Yep. Games. Let's see what games. Amazon has the Rare Replay for $20, which $30 was criminally low already. So $20, you just get it.
That's an amazing deal. I mean, I love Rare Replay. I highly recommend people picking it up for that price.
Yeah, that's probably a game you've been playing as well. So
it has. I've been dabbling in some old school games here and there, but I didn't want to mention those because then we'd really be here forever.
Yeah. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on Amazon is $38. So get that. Best Buy.
And they recently announced the Witcher 3 expansion, Hearts of Stone. So it's a good time to get into it.
That's $10 too, isn't it?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's something like that.
I think it is. It's a good price. I know that. Those guys are class acts at CD Projekt Red.
Oh, yeah. They're probably the most gamer-friendly developers and self-publishers out there.
Yeah, definitely. Best Buy has Bloodborne for $40. I highly recommend that. Walmart, Mortal Kombat X or 10 for $45. And Amazon has Wolfenstein: A New Order for $18, which was a surprisingly good shooter. So, yeah, check that out. You guys know of any other deals that are going on right now? Or I think that was a lot.
Yeah, I think you covered all the ones I know of.
Yeah, that was pretty good coverage there.
Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to our topic of the week. Okay.
So that is my favorite cartoon of all time.
Dude, you totally threw me for a loop there, Matt. That was awesome. Yeah,
it's a great show.
Yeah.
A quick story. I actually changed my name to Doug at like a summer camp thing. I pretended I was Doug the whole time I was there. Like I lied to all the teachers and everything about my name being Doug. And then when I got back, my parents found out about it. And I was in huge trouble for that. But.
My favorite thing is that his best friend Skeeter's real name is Mosquito, and he's definitely Hispanic. All right, because if anybody's going to be named Mosquito, it's a Hispanic dude. So I love it.
True.
Yep, that's it. But
I gotta get a Jamie laugh in here.
There, yes, that's what was missing. It totally threw me off. Yeah, our topic of the week is actually on something that's coming up rather fast, and that's virtual reality. And I don't know if you guys have done any of it yet, Rob. Have you had any experience with the new Oculus Rift or anything like that?
So I have not, because I'm waiting for actual consumer releases. I've thought about it a couple of times. I have a PC that could run it, about getting in on developer kits, but I think I want to wait for the consumer releases. But I'm super, super excited. I'm happy that this is the topic.
Yeah. And I was just researching some of this, and I thought there were like 4 major ones, but it seems like every company under the sun has some type of VR headset in the works. Like I just heard about the Google Cardboard one.
Yeah, but that one's different. I mean, when you talk about the Google Cardboard, which is basically just it's literally a origami project. You get this cardboard that you fold up, you put your phone in there, and the way that the lenses and the eyes are set up is to give you a VR effect. That, and then you're also talking about, Samsung Gear VR, which is another one where
like the Fove, I think it's called. X1.
That's so the Samsung Gear VR is the one where you put your phone inside it as well.
Okay.
And then the HTC one is the Vive, which is also being co-developed with Valve. That's that's turning into one of the major players. We have Oculus Rift. So the major players, realistically, as far as gaming is concerned, is the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, Project Morpheus. If you want to count HoloLens,
Microsoft,
which is really AR. It's not quite VR. And then there's also one being done by, I believe it's
Razer.
Razer's doing Razer's doing one, and then the developers of Payday are also doing one, I believe.
Payday.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people throwing their hats in this ring.
Yeah, they all want to get ahead of it because from people that have played it, they say it's like the best thing. It is not just a fad. It's something that's going to live on, which has yet to be seen. But for some of the prices, Oculus Rift, it's expected to cost $1,500, and that's for an all-in setup.
I mean, I think that's also including like the type of PC you're gonna need to run it, because the developer kits themselves are only like $250, something like that. So I can't imagine. I think the $1,500 price comes from people talking about when everything's said and done with all the things you're going to need to actually run it, that's what it would cost you if you didn't already have a PC that could run it. I can't imagine that the Oculus Rift, especially being bought by Facebook, considering that they want this to be a consumer unit that's used for more than just games, also integrated into Facebook, it seems. And, there's no way that thing by itself is going to cost that much.
Right, right, exactly. I mean, it just, like you said, it depends on your computer setup, which the specs and all, it seemed like it had to be very high, which that makes sense because they don't want to cheapen the experience for other people. If you're really into it, you will, anybody that's into it will update to what they need.
Yeah, and I think more than just cheapen the experience, I think you're going to need something that's powerful enough to run things so that things run smoothly, because I think the biggest fear with VR that I have is I actually get motion sickness, so I can't watch like found footage movies, like the Blair Witch Project that got 3/4 of the way through and then spent the rest of the time in the theater with my head between my lap.
Wow.
Yeah, and same thing with like Paranormal Activity. So that's the biggest problem that developers and the people actually making these products are trying to overcome, is that VR sickness, and from all accounts they seem to be getting much better at it. And I think that's why the PC is going to have to be powerful enough, because if not, if you're getting jagged images with VR, I think for sure you're going to run into some motion sickness.
Sure, yeah. They're actually, PlayStation just announced that Project Morpheus, which is now it's PlayStation VR. That was like the big thing at Tokyo Game Show. But I guess all VR headsets need PC to stream. But PlayStation VR only needs the PS4, which that's the main selling point they're making for this, which PS4 is so far away the best-selling console this generation. And they said it would be priced as a new gaming platform. So I believe on a previous episode, you guys said it would cost like $300, $400, which that sounds about right. What they're trying to aim for, it might have to be more with the specs it has. But
are you going to get it, Josh?
If I get any type of VR, that would be the most likely one, just because you don't have to worry about, I have a crappy computer. So I won't have to worry. I mean, it just goes with the PlayStation 4. You just play it right there.
I think that's smart too, but I think that's also its biggest weakness. I think the fact that it's limited just to the PS4, I think that's the thing that turns it off for me the most. I thought the announcement about Microsoft supporting the Oculus Rift and being able to, with Windows 10, being able to stream your games to your PC, and then being able to use Oculus Rift to basically play your games on what would be like as if you were playing at a movie theater. It doesn't incorporate VR into the streaming. It basically just gives you a bigger virtual screen. I think that makes the Oculus Rift more enticing for me, actually, is the fact that my hope isn't even, I'm excited about the gaming aspects, but for VR, I'm more excited for some of the other things that are possible. Like when my wife is hogging the TV and I want to watch something different, I can come over to my PC and stream a movie and have this giant screen basically in front of me instead of my, 22-inch monitor. So I think that I think also the thing about PlayStation VR is that, yeah, the barrier to entry is going to be lower because if you already have a PlayStation 4, then you just have to buy this one piece of equipment. I think it's also going to... I think most people who have PlayStation 4s and who have made it the best-selling console, I also think they're not exactly going to run out and drop $400 on a piece of hardware that's essentially another console and to pick this up, especially considering that Sony doesn't exactly have the best history when it comes to supporting their peripherals. So
PlayStation Move.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. You actually alliterated to what I was going to say, is that it's definitely not going to be the highest end, and it's going to feel just because it has to work within the confines of the PS4.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? What are you are you excited about this at all? Like,
I mean, with VR, I don't even know if it really works for me. I tried it when we were down in Disney for our honeymoon, and I had my glasses in like a specific position because you got to have like it's weird because it gives you the perception of seeing far away, but you really see a screen up close.
Right.
And so that kind of messes with my eyes in the way they are right now. So I don't even know if I can really use them. I'm curious to see how they'll do it. I feel like it's only worth even $400, let alone like the $1,500 they're suggesting for like the whole end of the Oculus Rift. It's only worth that price if there's a substantial amount of opportunities, whether it is games or other uses. And it's something that's like interesting and not really like gimmicky type games. Like, for instance, the Kinect. I know this isn't going to end up like Kinect, obviously, but like with the Kinect, we were excited for the potential, and then all we got was a bunch of like either dancing games, which were fun, or like a kicking game, but there wasn't like what we expected. We expected to be able to like maybe even they would like make a little gun attachment or something like that, and we could like motion control our way through a first-person shooter, and that like just never came. And I feel like they'll definitely do first-person shooters and stuff with VR, but like how well they'll do them and how well they'll compare to games that you can just play on just a TV with your console, I don't know. And so I think that'll play a lot into, you know, how well people respond to it. Me personally, I'll probably never get a VR just for the personal things I got going on with my eyes. But, you know, like, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, like, and I mean, you touched on it. Just quickly, we'll talk about the Kinect real quick. The games that were made specifically for the Kinect actually turned out pretty well. And I think that's where the problem is. Yeah, I think those dancing games are great. I love Dance Central. And it's one of those things where that's the problem. Is VR going to come out and developers going to be shoehorning their games that don't have to be on VR into VR? I'm excited for games like Vanishing of Ethan Carter, like Everybody Goes to Rapture, like Everybody's Gone to Rapture. You know, those kind of games where instead of making it another input to control these games, that it's doing something different that makes me feel more engrossed in the game, more like I'm a part of that game. And the fact that it will block everything else out, so I'm not seeing, you know, my daughter destroy one of my action figures in the corner of my eye, you know, or see my wife giving me looks like, I can't believe you've been playing this game for 2.5 hours. Like that kind of stuff I'm excited about. And I mean, I already mentioned, you know, the fact that stuff like watching movies, you know, and so there are other applications that people have suggested. Like, for example, I know with the HTC Vive, which is being co-developed by Valve, they actually have a tech demo that lets you not play Dota, but spectate Dota. So that kind of stuff is exciting. So imagine if, I don't know if you guys are into esports at all, but we'll take the Smite, because that's another game I've been playing. I've been playing that the most. I can't believe I didn't mention that.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah, I've been playing it constantly. But imagine watching some of the pros play, and instead of just watching your screen with the shoutcasters, you're watching basically what's like an RTS view, where it's an isometric over-the-top view, where you're seeing these characters move in real time, and you can zoom in on the jungle, you can zoom in when there's a battle and stuff like that, and you see these as if they're epic scenes in a movie. Like, that stuff is really exciting to me, more than, you know, being able to look to my right to see, you know, that an enemy's coming, you know, up to me in a game. I think that kind of stuff is what I'm more excited for, and I think that's why I'm more excited for some of the things coming to PC than I am for necessarily the PlayStation VR.
So almost a new way of interacting with entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah. Anything that can engross you more. Because let's be, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm playing certain games like horror games, for example, survival horror games, I like to have the lights off. I like everybody to be in bed. I like to have my surround sound headphones on. I like to be engrossed in it. You know, I want to be enveloped in it. I want the game to hug me and make me feel safe and then scare the poop out of me. You know, that's what I want. And so if this can do that and this can bring something new to the table that doesn't feel like a gimmick, I mean, that could be amazing.
So here's this really crazy idea that I have. And right now it's football season and I love football. And stuff. So could you imagine a future, and this would be a very distant future, but where VR got pretty easily incorporated into, you know, our entertainment realm as commonplace, and you could pop on your VR headset, and at NFL stadiums they had like cameras set up so they could like map out everything happening, and like maybe pay a premium to the NFL and actually like be in a seat and watching the game happen in front of you.
That is genius. I mean, you could charge me, honestly, you could charge me half the price of a ticket, right? To have a view from the sideline, from the 50-yard line or wherever. You know, you want to do it, you want to go so far that like you're paying half the price of a ticket and you're sitting in that kind of seat. I mean, obviously the camera angles are going to be hard to shoot, but let's just say you charge me a premium, like you said, to watch the game as if I'm at the stadium, and I can get up and go to the bathroom without a line. I can order pizza and have it brought to me. Like that kind of stuff is amazing. And that's where VR gets me really, really excited. You know?
I mean, like they already got the thing where the players have little chips in their jerseys, and now on like your Xbox app, you see how fast they run and stuff like that, and see who the most efficient route runners are and stuff. So like you said, just put cameras at all angles from like one different spot, and then everybody who pays could just like be in that spot and like observing using virtual reality.
Yeah, I think, and imagine if they get to the point where you are basically, you can set up a party chat where you're sitting next to your friends.
Oh, wow.
Granted, you would have your own avatar and stuff like that, but you can communicate and talk as the game's going on, and that'd be amazing. I mean, you know, we were talking about football before this, and I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and Matt is, you know, a terrible Dallas Cowboys fan. So could you imagine if we were watching this Sunday's game together over VR and smack talking the whole time? Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So it sounds like it'd almost be better for an entertainment purpose rather.
I see. That's what I was saying is I think that's why I'm more excited for the stuff that's happening on PC, because then we can get more of that, you know. And that's not to say
just gaming,
right. And that's not to say that the PlayStation VR couldn't have an app that does that stuff as well. I'm not saying that, you know. I'm just saying that I think that as many PlayStation 4s that have been sold out there, I think there's way more PCs out there. Right. And so if you can get it to a point where stuff like what we're talking about doesn't take a super powerful PC and it's really just, you know, streaming and the such, and these VR headsets get to a point where most of the stuff needed for it is in the VR headset itself, I think that's amazing, you know. What do you guys think about AR, you know, and HoloLens and what they're doing with that?
I think it's cool for, you know, the possibilities of certain professions, like maybe engineering, sitting there working with stuff you're trying to put together or engineer and see how it actually works, like right in front of you, and everybody could be staring at a table analyzing it. Like that kind of stuff is really cool, the potential there. As far as gaming is concerned, the Minecraft tech demo was interesting and it was pretty cool, but I still prefer actually seeing the world and being there.
I
mean, RTS, but that's about it.
I think it has more of a practical use, in my opinion.
Yeah. And truly told, there's some other things that I was thinking about with AR, and I'm excited about AR as well. Don't get me wrong. I think like you said, there's a lot of practical uses with that. I also think that imagine if you have this HoloLens on, and granted, they've talked about it already, and it seems like the field of view isn't huge, but imagine it gets to the point where like a HUD in a first-person shooter is on your HoloLens. So it's not on the screen itself. So you're seeing your ammo clip in the bottom left and it's kind of floating there and stuff like that. And you see people giving waypoints and stuff like that. And then they talked about the tech demo that they had for Halo 5, where before a mission, instead of watching a still image like in The Witcher 3 and then a narration over it, you're seeing this little animation play out in front of you, like action figures come to life. Like that kind of stuff excites me. I think people like to focus on actual input in video games and what it's going to do for them there. And I think these technology is more exciting for everything around that. Like I said, I'm not interested in controlling a game a different way because I love my controllers. I think they work just fine. I'm interested in what it can do outside of that to make me feel more involved in the experience and more engrossed in the experience.
I just had like a crazy idea for AR. So like, and kind of like my football thing with the VR. But you know how like one of the best times you had when you were a kid was getting with some friends and like having a Nerf gun fight or something like that in your house, or laser tag if you had like early versions of laser tag, even though it only worked half the time. Could you imagine like everybody having one of these AR sets and it being like, you know, way down the road, so they're way more developed and futuristic, and so they're portable, and maybe you have like a little fake gun you hold, but as you put on the AR, all of a sudden you see either, you know, NPCs around in the environment, or like you could literally go in your backyard and coordinate like a battle in front of you with like your friends. And so it's almost like blending the old school, having a little Nerf fight or laser tag fight, except you're doing it with this AR world like in your backyard.
I think that would be awesome. Imagine instead of being like a one hit and you're out, there's actually a little health bar on the bottom, and every time you get a shot, like some of it's taken out. I think that stuff.
There's actual HUD. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like power ups in the environment that you can run over and gain health back and stuff like that, or gain a shield. Like that kind of stuff is cool. You know, I mean, granted, it's, you know, it's a little gimmicky, but if a gimmick is fun, like who cares? You know,
it's like Wii Sports. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Get everybody involved.
I loved playing laser tag when I was a kid, and I can just imagine like replacing that cheap little laser tag like toy that I had, and then just having one of these things on and like running at my friend and shooting him, and then going over here in this corner is a little floating health pack I got to run through real quick to give it to me. That stuff would be insane.
Yeah, and even that interacting with like a PC. Imagine that you're working on something like before you guys hopped on for this call. You know, I'm sitting at my computer and I'm editing something, and then it pops up over my HUD, and there's a little image of, you know, Matt's avatar telling me I have a call, and I bring him up and he's just hovering there in the corner, and we're having a video chat and stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff I think is really interesting, you know? And I think, like I said, if you can evolve it in video games to a point where it's enhancing the experience and not giving me a new input, or even when they showed the AR where, you know, they were looking at a wall and they had a bigger screen to play Minecraft, you know, like that stuff's exciting for me too, because I spend a lot of money on garbage, but I don't have a lot of money. I really don't. So I have a limited amount of TVs in my house, you know? So if I can have
10 TVs in your house.
Yeah, I only have a dozen TVs. If you know, they're being taken and I want to play a game, and I can just, you know, be like, okay, I'm going to go over into, you know, my office, and then I have it up there on the wall, you know, like that kind of stuff is cool. I think the possibilities are there. The problem is that right now it's possibility. That's all it is. I mean, we're sitting here talking about the great things that could happen. Until that stuff actually happens, like there's no telling, you know, we can't get a definitive verdict on this.
Yeah. Right. But then I was going to say, at the same time, you got the idea that if VR and AR doesn't sell well initially, then businesses may not feel it's as much of an investment, and they may not try to improve on it. So there's like Kinect. Kinect still has a lot of potential, that piece of technology. But, you know, after the Kinect 2, they're pretty much given up on it because people have given up on it. And so it's like, it's a give and take, you know. I honestly don't think we're going to get amazing top-notch things out of VR and AR right away, and even in the next, you know, 3-4 years. But if people don't buy it, sadly, then we may not get much more in the long run.
See, I actually think that's why, if I had to wager which one of these companies are going to come out the best with this, it's going to be Oculus Rift, just because they were bought by Facebook and they have that Facebook money. I think Facebook is embedded. Yeah, I think they're invested in this to the point where like they will make this work, you know? And so
I totally agree. I think PlayStation VR, as, you know, as consumer friendly as it appears, is just, it's going to go the way of like a PlayStation Move. Honestly, there's just not enough experiences wrapped around it.
Right.
I can say, Rob, I think you hit on this really well, that it's better as an adventure type of game.
Right.
Peripheral, not making it too complicated. I can imagine just playing PT.
Oh my God.
You know how, oh my gosh, I think I would pass out. Like
I think I would need a change of pants, to be honest, at the ready. Like,
I mean, and that's what I look forward to the most, are like immersive experiences like that. I mean, that it's almost too much to think about. Like our minds couldn't wrap around that.
Okay, so I have I have one more creative idea here related to football because I'm just like my mind is like
So
going crazy right now.
This is the best part about these kind of conversations. It's just the kind of things that we come up with, like the things we want to see. And I think that's the coolest part about this tech is that we've been dreaming of this like future tech for a long time now. You know, I mean, we were supposed to have flying cars by now, according to Back to the Future. You know, so like,
where are those?
Yeah, this is the best part about this stuff for me is just thinking about the possible things that could come from
realize
this.
it was a terrorist trap waiting to happen.
Right, true.
So like I love football, right? Well, could you imagine like AR obviously being more developed and you could have it in like just a smaller screen? And you guys know how like those guys who they put on a football helmet and they'll have those sunglasses kind of built in? Imagine an AR thing built into a football helmet. You put that football helmet on in your backyard and all of a sudden you're in the middle of a stadium with like fans screaming and you hear it in your ears and stuff. And then you can actually just play football with your friends, but you know, like you get that experience. Like it changes your experience.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome.
Wow. Or have it strapped onto the actual football players' helmet so you're seeing what they're seeing. And
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Wow, that would be too jarring. I think.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we were talking about. Even VR, you know, is imagine that you do pay for that seat, and then at one point in the game, they're like, "Hey, if you want to take a look from Tom Brady's perspective, here's the cam. You can switch over." You know.
Oh yeah.
And for that play, you see what he's seeing. Now, granted, I don't know if teams would be hyped about that because then, you know, other teams could use that to their advantage. But that kind of stuff is cool. I mean, I like that idea.
And even just for football players themselves, imagine this like NFL players having those, you know, shields and then like stats and analysis of the defense coming up and all of a sudden the game becomes technology oriented. That'd be kind of cheap, but you know.
Wow, guys. I mean, my mind's blown.
Like I could imagine Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or one of them guys like looking at the defense and all of a sudden it locks in on all the players and how far a distance they are apart and like maps it out into like little calculations that reads on their little screen in front of them.
Wow, I think we could go on forever talking about
sorry.
this. No, it's all right. I mean, this is good stuff. VR, I think it's here to stay. Honestly, I think the time is right now. Technology's up. I don't think it's another fad. What do you guys think? As a final thought, do you think it's the future or just another fad?
Matt, go ahead. You start.
I think as long as people take it seriously, it can be the future. And I think in some way this technology will be the future, whether it, you know, fades in 5 years and then comes back 10 years later, or whether it just soars from here. I think it will ultimately be something very pivotal in the future, but I want to see how things play out over the next few years.
I mean, I hope it's the future. I hope they do good things with it. I hope some of the things we talked about today comes to fruition. I think it's one of those things where, like, I mean, I remember being in middle school and I didn't have a cell phone. Cell phones weren't even like that big of a thing. Internet wasn't even that big of a thing, to be honest. You know, I didn't know anybody in my neighborhood that had internet. And then look where we are now, man. We have supercomputers in our pockets at all times, you know? So I think it's one of those things where as long as VR comes out and shows the world that this will make life better, this will make things better, this will make the experiences more fun, then I think it could be the future, absolutely.
Sure. Awesome stuff, guys. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the show here. Hopefully James will be back and all things can be right in the world again. You won't have to hear my ramblings. But yeah, thank you again, Rob, for joining us. And
thanks, man.
My pleasure as always, guys. I love being on.
Awesome. Good to have you. Where can people find you at?
So you can find me at SunnyVice20, SUNNYVICE20 on Twitter, Xbox Live, PSN, Nintendo ID, Steam ID, everywhere. You can find me at SunnyVice20, Instagram, even though I don't post anything. You can also find me, as we mentioned earlier, at theworkprint.com. I do put up some articles and some reviews, and I have a bunch of videos that I've done up on there, and I'm trying to do more both in Let's Plays and also unboxings and stuff like that. We've also have a podcast. If you just search for The Workprint on iTunes or most Android podcast apps, you'll find us there. We've actually started doing a video game podcast, which is basically this podcast, just not as good. I'm trying to get to your guys' level, but
man, I'm sure. You're way past that, dude.
You guys can check that out. It's me and one of the other writers, and then we try to bring on a third person. We try to rotate who's on, just like you guys do, because I think it's a good idea to have different voices and different opinions on the show. Sure. Besides that, you can also check out, I'm going to start streaming again. I've been a little absent because I started my own law firm, but I'm going to start streaming again over at the twitch.tv/theworkprit. And I think that covers it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, as I alluded to earlier, please check out our new website, lifeofgaming.net.
The website looks good. The website looks good, by the way. I got a chance to check it out.
James did an awesome job with that.
It's really slick. It's clean looking. I really like it.
Yeah, I really like how it networks all of the content together.
Yeah.
It's just, like you said, it's just very clean. So go there, check that out, write things in, let us know what you think about it. Also, the Zombie Vikings contest, visit the YouTube page, comment with your favorite side-scrolling beat-em-up, and then we'll choose the winner on air next Friday.
And guys, they're serious about this because I tried to get them to give me the code as friends of the site, but they refused. So
can't happen.
I have to actually go and write a comment, is what James said. So make sure you guys do that.
Yes, please. And as always, you can find us at Life of Gaming Pod on Twitter, Life of Gaming Podcast on Facebook, and just please be sure to ask us any questions or send us some topics you would like to hear on future episodes. What you like about the podcast, what doesn't work. We want to hear from what you guys think. And
Matt, where can we find you? Because we're about to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Josh was like, forget Matt.
Oh, I'm not important. No.
No, I was gonna get there.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, on Twitter at cpunkrock07, and then on Xbox at xmightymat14x. That's also going to be my name on WordPress or basically lifeofgaming.net. So if you ever see any articles in the future, then that will be my name there. So yeah, other than that, I'm not too involved, but I'm trying to get more involved in social networking.
Yeah, you do some awesome stuff on there. So feel free to visit that. And as I was saying, I was really interrupted by Rob. No,
that's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here.
We're not trying to market ourselves by getting more hits or whatever, because we don't make any money from this. We just love doing this podcast, and we want to make the best show we can for all of you as well. So get more people listening and more people involved in gaming. Also, if you listen on iTunes, please be sure to rate us, whether you think it sucks, rate us poorly. If you liked us, rate us highly, because that gives us valuable feedback to make the show better and gives us more visibility. So unless your feedback is that Rob should never be on the show again, in that case, keep it to yourself. Don't go and comment. Repeatedly message Rob with that information.
And Bobby, don't go under different names and leave a whole bunch of comments about how terrible Rob is, okay?
Yes. But yeah, like I said, the more people we have doing that, whether positive or negative, just gives us more visibility on the iTunes charts. So thank you, everyone that listens. You can find me at @_the_Brant on Twitter, _the Brant Twitch, Facebook. I'm Josh Brant. Yeah, just message me. Let me know what you think. We appreciate all of you listening. And until next time, we are out.
Bye-bye.
Later.